Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see every single relationship in your life. Right now, someone is draining you. They call it friendship. They call it family. They call it loyalty. But here's what it really is: emotional hostage-taking. You're carrying their weight while they sit comfortably on your shoulders. You're losing sleep over their problems while they sleep just fine. You're spending your mental energy solving their crises while your own life gets zero attention. Think about the last time someone came to you with an emergency. Did they ask if you had time? Did they care about your bandwidth? Did they even consider that you might have your own stress? No, they just dumped it on you, and you took it. Again. Here's the brutal truth most people never admit. Your empathy is being weaponized against you. Your kindness is being exploited. Your reliability is being abused. And the worst part? You think you're being a good person by accepting it. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something 5 centuries ago that you're just learning today. Power belongs to those who control their energy, not those who give it away freely. He watched princes fall because they couldn't say no. He saw kingdoms collapse because leaders confused compassion with weakness. He documented how the world devours those who make themselves too available, too understanding, too willing to sacrifice. Today, you're going to learn the 7 dark laws that separate people who get drained from people who stay protected. The 7 principles that keep your mental space clear while everyone else drowns in chaos they didn't create. But first, I need you to do something right now. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My peace is not negotiable. Say it again. Mean it. Because after this video, you're never carrying someone else's crisis again. Law 1. Other people's emergencies are not your emergencies. Think about how this plays out in your life right now. Someone texts you at 11 p.m. I need to talk. It's urgent. Your heart rate spikes. Your mind starts racing. You drop everything. You cancel your plans. You abandon your own needs. And what's their emergency? They had a bad day. They're overthinking something. They need someone to vent to. They want attention. Here's what nobody teaches you. Most crises aren't crises at all. They're drama dressed up as disasters. Real emergencies are rare. Hospital-level situations, life or death moments, actual catastrophes. But people have learned that if they frame their problems as urgent, you'll respond immediately. They've conditioned you to treat their inconvenience like your responsibility, and you fall for it every single time. The psychological manipulation here is subtle, but devastating. When someone labels something an emergency, they're triggering your stress response without your consent. They're hijacking your nervous system for their benefit. You start producing cortisol, your blood pressure rises, your focus narrows, your body enters crisis mode. Meanwhile, the person who called you, they're calm, they're comfortable. They just offloaded their stress onto you like dropping a bag of garbage at someone's door. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." But he also understood that wisdom means choosing which battles deserve your immediate attention. Not every fire needs your water. Not every problem needs your solution. Not every crisis needs your stress. Here's what powerful people understand. Availability is currency. Every time you make yourself immediately available for someone else's problem, you devalue yourself. Think about the most respected people in your life. Are they the ones who drop everything for everyone? Never. They're the ones who maintain boundaries, who respond on their timeline, who distinguish between real emergencies and manufactured urgency. Let me give you the test that changes everything. Before you react to someone's crisis, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Will someone die if I don't respond right now? 2. Is this person's lack of planning my responsibility? 3. Have they exhausted their own resources before coming to me? If the answer to all 3 is no, then their emergency is not your emergency. It's their problem to solve with their time and their energy. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. People will guilt you. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you selfish. They'll remind you of times they helped you. That's the manipulation talking. That's them trying to reclaim control over your energy. Real friends respect boundaries. Real family understands limits. Real relationships don't require you to sacrifice your peace for their comfort. The cost of being everyone's emergency contact is severe. You develop anxiety. You lose sleep. You neglect your own goals. You become resentful. You burn out. And the people you helped, they don't grow. They don't learn to handle their own problems. They just find another person to drain. Your job isn't to rescue everyone. Your job is to protect your mental space so you can show up powerfully for the things that actually matter. From today forward, someone else's poor planning is not your crisis. Someone else's drama is not your emergency. Someone else's inability to cope is not your burden to carry. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my availability. Law 2. Chronic crisis creators are using you. There's a type of person you need to identify immediately if you want to keep your sanity. The chronic crisis creator. These people don't have occasional problems, they have permanent chaos. Their life is an endless series of disasters, emergencies, and catastrophes that somehow always need your intervention. Pay attention to the pattern. Every week there's a new crisis. Every month there's a new emergency. Every conversation starts with, I don't know what to do, or I'm freaking out, or I need your help. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't bad luck. This is a lifestyle choice. Chronic crisis creators have learned that chaos gets them attention. Drama gets them resources. Emergencies get them your time and energy. They're not seeking solutions. They're seeking supply. You are their emotional fuel source. Think about it. How many times have you given them advice that they never followed? How many times have you solved a problem that reappeared 2 weeks later? How many times have you invested hours only to watch them create the same disaster again? That's not coincidence, that's strategy. Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple of mind and so much dominated by their immediate needs that a deceitful person will always find plenty who are ready to be deceived." Chronic crisis creators have mastered this game. They present themselves as helpless, overwhelmed, in desperate need, and your empathy makes you respond. But here's the test that reveals everything. Offer them a permanent solution instead of temporary relief. Tell them to see a therapist instead of venting to you. Tell them to create a budget instead of lending money. Tell them to develop better planning instead of bailing them out. Watch what happens. They'll resist. They'll make excuses. They'll tell you why that won't work for them. Why? Because they don't want solutions. Solutions end the crisis. And ending the crisis means ending the attention. The psychology behind this is dark but real. Some people are addicted to crisis because crisis gives them purpose, identity, and control over others. They feel important when you drop everything to help. They feel powerful when you rearrange your life for their emergency. They feel validated when you sacrifice your peace for their chaos. Your availability is their drug. Your response is their high. Your stress is their proof that they matter. And every time you respond to their manufactured emergency, you're enabling the addiction. Let that sink in. You're not helping them grow. You're helping them stay exactly where they are. Real empowerment looks like this. teaching people to handle their own problems instead of handling their problems for them. But that requires you to do something most people can't do. Stop rescuing. When they call with the next crisis, don't provide the solution. Ask them what they've already tried. Ask them what resources they have. Ask them what their plan is. Most of the time, they haven't tried anything. They came to you first, because you've trained them that you're easier than effort. The harsh reality is this: you cannot help someone who refuses to help themselves. You cannot grow someone who's addicted to chaos. You cannot save someone who needs crisis to feel alive. Your responsibility is not to be their permanent life support. Your responsibility is to protect your energy from people who drain it without growing from it. Chronic crisis creators will burn you out. They will exhaust you. They will leave you empty while they move on to the next person who hasn't figured out their pattern yet. Recognize them, set boundaries with them, and if necessary, remove access entirely. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I release crisis addicts. Law 3. Emotional urgency is a manipulation tactic. Here's something that will change how you see every conversation from today forward. When someone approaches you with emotional intensity, with heightened urgency, with dramatic language, they're not just expressing feelings, they're creating pressure. They're using emotional urgency as a manipulation tactic to bypass your rational thinking and force an immediate response. Listen to the language. I need you right now. This can't wait. I'm literally falling apart. If you don't help me, I don't know what I'll do. Every phrase is designed to trigger your protective instincts. Every word is calculated to make you feel responsible for their emotional state. And it works. Because you're a decent human being who doesn't want to see people suffer. But here's what Machiavelli understood that you're just learning. Emotional manipulation is still manipulation, even when it comes from someone you care about. The tactic is subtle, but devastating. By creating artificial urgency around their emotional state, they eliminate your ability to think clearly, evaluate the situation, or set appropriate boundaries. You're reacting, not responding. You're in crisis mode for a crisis that isn't yours. Think about the last time someone hit you with emotional urgency. Did you feel calm and in control? Or did you feel pressured, anxious, and obligated? That feeling is the manipulation working. Your nervous system hijacked, your decision-making compromised, your boundaries dissolved. The most skilled manipulators don't even realize they're doing it. They've learned unconsciously that emotional intensity gets results, so they escalate every problem into a 5-alarm fire, and you've learned unconsciously that responding immediately keeps the peace, so you sacrifice your needs to manage their emotions. This is the transaction that destroys your mental health. You trade your peace for their temporary comfort. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You're not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You're not obligated to absorb their anxiety. You're not required to regulate their nervous system at the expense of your own. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." When you constantly respond to emotional urgency, you appear caring and supportive, but what you really are is exhausted, resentful, and empty. The test that reveals emotional manipulation is simple. What happens when you don't respond immediately? Do they respect your boundary? Do they understand you need time? Do they apologize for the intensity? Or do they escalate? Do they guilt you? Do they make you feel like a bad person for not dropping everything? That response tells you everything. Real emotional needs can wait for appropriate support. Manipulative emotional urgency cannot tolerate delay, because delay gives you time to think, and thinking is the enemy of manipulation. Here's what powerful people do differently. They create space between someone else's emotional state and their response. Someone says, "I need you right now." They respond, "I hear that you're struggling. I can talk to you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Someone says, "This is urgent." They ask, "What makes this urgent? What happens if we address it in a few hours?" Someone says, "I'm falling apart." They say, "I'm sorry you're going through this. Have you reached out to your therapist?" Notice the pattern: acknowledgement without absorption, compassion without compliance, support without sacrifice. You can care about someone without carrying their emotional state. You can be supportive without being available on demand. You can be empathetic without being exploited. The cost of constantly responding to emotional urgency is severe. You develop anxiety because you're always on call. You lose boundaries because emotional intensity overrides them. You become resentful because your needs never matter as much as theirs. And the person using emotional urgency, they never learn to self-regulate. They never develop coping skills. They never grow because you're always there to catch them before they hit the ground. From today forward, emotional urgency gets a calm, delayed response. Not because you don't care, because you care about yourself too. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I respond on my terms. Law 4. Saying no to crisis is saying yes to yourself. Most people don't understand what happens every time you say yes to someone else's crisis. You're not just helping them, you're stealing from yourself. Every minute you spend managing their emergency is a minute you're not spending on your goals. Every ounce of mental energy you give to their drama is energy you're not investing in your future. Every emotional resource you drain for their comfort is a resource you're not using for your growth. Think about it. When was the last time you had uninterrupted time for something that actually mattered to you? When was the last time you worked on your business idea without someone's crisis pulling your attention? When was the last time you prioritized your mental health without feeling guilty about it? You can't remember, because you've been too busy being everyone's emotional support system. Here's the dark truth. Every person you're carrying is weight that's keeping you from rising. Machiavelli once said, "A prince ought to take care that he never lets anything slip from his lips that is not replete with the qualities of mercy, loyalty, integrity, humanity, and religion." But he also understood that a ruler who tries to be all things to all people becomes nothing to himself. You cannot build wealth while managing everyone else's financial crises. You cannot advance your career while solving everyone else's work drama. You cannot improve your health while absorbing everyone else's stress. The math is simple. You have 24 hours, limited energy, finite mental bandwidth. Every yes to someone else's crisis is an automatic no to your own priorities. Think about the last week. How many hours did you spend helping others with their problems? Now compare that to how many hours you spent working on your own goals. The ratio is probably devastating. This is why you're stuck. Not because you lack talent, not because you lack ambition, because you lack boundaries that protect your time and energy for the things that actually build your life. The people who rise aren't more talented than you. They're more protective of their resources. They understand that saying no to distractions isn't selfish, it's strategic. They understand that availability is a currency they spend wisely, not freely. Here's what this looks like in practice. Someone calls with a crisis. You recognize it's not your emergency. You politely decline to engage. You redirect them to appropriate resources. You return to your priorities. No guilt, no apology, no second guessing. Because you understand something most people never learn. Your life will never improve until you prioritize yourself as much as you prioritize others. The guilt you feel when saying no is just conditioning. Society trained you to believe that self-prioritization is selfishness, that boundaries are cruelty, that protecting your energy is abandonment. All lies, all manipulation, all designed to keep you available for everyone except yourself. Real selfishness looks like this: draining people who help you without growing from it. Real cruelty looks like this: expecting others to sacrifice their peace for your comfort. Real abandonment looks like this: abandoning your own needs to meet everyone else's demands. Saying no to crisis is the highest form of self-respect. It's acknowledging that your time matters, your energy matters. Your goals matter, your peace matters, not more than others, but not less either. Machiavelli understood that power comes from resource allocation. The wise ruler knows when to spend his treasury and when to protect it. Your mental and emotional energy is your treasury. Stop spending it on people who contribute nothing to your kingdom. Every no to someone else's crisis is a yes to your own growth. Every boundary you enforce is an investment in your future. Every moment you reclaim is a moment you can use to build something that actually matters. The transformation happens when you realize the people who guilt you for saying no are the same people who never consider your needs when they say yes to themselves. They protect their time, they guard their energy, they prioritize their goals. They just want you to keep sacrificing yours. Stop. Today, right now, your life is waiting for you to show up for it the way you show up for everyone else. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I choose me first. Law 5. Crisis responders. Train people to create more crises. Here's a pattern you've probably never noticed, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. The people who constantly have crises always bring them to the same people. The people who always respond. You. You're not just helping them, you're training them. Every time you drop everything to fix their problem, you're teaching them that creating crises works. Every time you absorb their stress, you're reinforcing that dumping emotional weight on you is acceptable. Every time you sacrifice your peace for their emergency, you're conditioning them to do it again. This is basic behavioral psychology. Actions that get rewarded get repeated. Their action: bring you a crisis. Your reward: immediate attention, resources, and emotional labor. They're learning. This works. Do it again. Think about Pavlov's dogs. Ring a bell, give food, repeat. Eventually, the bell alone triggers the response. With people, it works the same way. Create drama, get attention, repeat. Eventually, they don't even need a real crisis. The pattern is established, and you're the one who established it. Machiavelli once said, "Men are driven by two main motives, fear and love." But he understood that behavior is driven by consequences. When there's no consequence for draining you, they'll keep draining you. When there's no cost for creating crises, they'll keep creating crises. You've made yourself a consequence-free zone. A place where people can dump their problems without ever facing the reality that they're exhausting you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not helping them become more resilient. You're helping them stay dependent. Real growth happens through struggle, through facing consequences, through learning to solve your own problems because no one else will solve them for you. But when you're always there to catch them, they never learn to catch themselves. Think about children learning to walk. If you catch them every time they stumble, they never develop balance. They never learn to fall safely. They never build the muscle memory needed to walk independently. The same principle applies to adults and crisis management. When you solve their problems, they never develop problem-solving skills. When you manage their emotions, they never learn emotional regulation. When you absorb their stress, they never build stress tolerance. You're creating learned helplessness disguised as compassion. The most dangerous part, they start to resent you for it. On a subconscious level, they know you've made them weaker. They feel the dependency. They recognize their inability to function without you. And instead of taking responsibility for their growth, they blame you for making yourself indispensable. This is why chronic crisis creators eventually turn on their rescuers. The resentment builds until one day you're the villain in their story. Here's how you break the cycle. Stop responding to crises immediately. Create delay, create friction, create consequences. When they bring you a problem, ask them what they've already done to solve it. If the answer is nothing, tell them to try their own solutions first and come back if those don't work. When they bring emotional urgency, acknowledge it without absorbing it. That sounds difficult. What's your plan for handling it? When they bring drama, refuse to engage. I trust you'll figure it out. Watch what happens. At first, they'll escalate. They'll try harder to trigger your rescue response. This is called an extinction burst in psychology. The behavior gets worse before it gets better because they're testing whether the old pattern still works. Stay firm. The escalation passes. And then one of two things happens. Either they learn to handle their own crises and the relationship improves, or they find someone else to drain and remove themselves from your life. Both outcomes are wins for you. The goal isn't to abandon people who genuinely need help. The goal is to stop enabling people who've made crisis creation their personality. Machiavelli understood that a wise ruler must sometimes be cruel to be kind. Short-term discomfort creates long-term strength. When you stop rescuing people, you give them the opportunity to rescue themselves. That's the greatest gift you can give, but it requires you to tolerate their discomfort, to sit with the guilt they try to impose, to hold your boundary while they push against it. Most people can't do it. That's why most people stay trapped in cycles of exhaustion while enabling the very behavior that drains them. You're different. You're reading this because you're ready to stop the pattern. Today is the day you stop training people to drain you. Today is the day you start teaching them that you're not available for manufactured emergencies. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I stop enabling weakness. Law 6. Protect your energy like it's the only currency that matters, because it is. You can make more money. You can create more time through efficiency. You can build more skills through practice. But energy, mental and emotional energy, that's finite. Once it's gone, it's gone. And every person who drains you is stealing currency you can never recover. Think about your energy like a bank account. Every interaction is a transaction. Some people deposit, they energize you, they inspire you, they leave you feeling better than before. Most people withdraw, they drain you, they exhaust you, they leave you feeling depleted. Now look at your life. Who has unlimited withdrawal access to your account? Who can take and take without ever making a deposit? Those are the people bankrupting you. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The wise man protects his resources before they're depleted. The fool gives freely until there's nothing left. You've been the fool. Time to become the wise man. Energy management is the most underrated skill in modern life. Nobody teaches you that your capacity to produce, create and succeed depends entirely on how well you guard your mental and emotional reserves. You think success comes from working harder, from doing more, from being there for everyone. Wrong. Success comes from protecting your energy so intensely that you only spend it on things that multiply it. High performers understand this. They're ruthless about who gets access to their time and attention. They cut off energy vampires without apology. They create distance from chaos creators without guilt. They know something you're just learning. You can't pour from an empty cup, and the world is full of people with buckets ready to drain you dry. Here's the test that reveals your energy vampires. After spending time with someone, do you feel energized or exhausted? Do you feel inspired or depleted? Do you feel better or worse about yourself? Do you feel motivated or drained? Your body tells you the truth. Listen to it. If someone consistently leaves you feeling empty, they're an energy vampire. Doesn't matter if they're family, doesn't matter if you've known them forever, doesn't matter if they have good intentions. The impact is what matters, and the impact is they're draining your life force. The cost of ignoring this is catastrophic. You develop chronic fatigue. Your immune system weakens, your mental health deteriorates, your productivity collapses, your creativity dies, all because you let people with problems make those problems yours. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who exhausts himself for unworthy causes cannot protect his kingdom. The same applies to you. When you're drained, you can't show up for the people who actually matter. You can't pursue the goals that actually build your life. You can't maintain the standards that actually create respect. You become a hollow version of yourself, going through motions while feeling nothing. Protection starts with awareness. Track your energy for 1 week. After every interaction, rate your energy from 1 to 10. Write down who you were with and what happened. The patterns will shock you. The people you thought were friends are actually drains. The relationships you thought were healthy are actually toxic. The activities you thought were helpful are actually harmful. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you can't justify it anymore. Then comes the hard part, cutting access. Reduce contact with energy vampires. Stop being available for their crises. Create distance without explanation. Protect your space like your life depends on it, because it does. Some people will get offended. They'll say you've changed. They'll accuse you of being cold or selfish. Good. That means the boundary is working. That means they've lost their unlimited access to your energy. Your energy is the most valuable currency you possess. It determines your health, your productivity, your creativity, your relationships, your success, your happiness. Stop letting people who contribute nothing steal everything. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My energy is sacred. Law 7. Crisis addiction is real and you can't fix it. This is the hardest truth in this entire video. Some people are addicted to crisis, and you cannot fix them. You cannot love them into healing. You cannot support them into growth. You cannot sacrifice enough to make them stable. Crisis addiction is real. It's a psychological pattern where people create or attract chaos because chaos gives them identity, purpose, and control. Without crisis, they don't know who they are. Without drama, they feel empty. Without problems, they lose their narrative. So they manufacture emergencies to fill the void, and they pull you into the chaos because shared crisis feels like connection, but it's not connection. It's codependency. Think about someone in your life who always has something going wrong. Every conversation is heavy. Every interaction is intense. Every relationship with them revolves around their latest disaster. You've tried everything. You've given advice they never follow. You've offered solutions they never implement. You've provided support that never leads to improvement. And still, the crises continue. Week after week, month after month, year after year. That's not bad luck. That's addiction. Machiavelli once said, "A man who causes harm will do so whenever it is useful for him." Some people cause chaos because chaos is useful to them. It gets them attention. It gives them control. It makes them the center of every conversation. It excuses their lack of progress. It justifies their poor choices. Crisis becomes their identity. And identity is the hardest addiction to break. Here's the brutal reality. You cannot save someone who is addicted to drowning. You can throw them a life preserver every day, and they'll push it away to stay in the water. Because the water is familiar. The water is their comfort zone. The water is where they get attention. The mistake you're making is thinking your effort matters to their outcome. It doesn't. Your effort only matters to your exhaustion. Your sacrifice only matters to your depletion. Your availability only matters to their continued dependency. They will not change because you're there. They will only change when the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of changing. And as long as you cushion their fall every time, they never hit bottom hard enough to want something different. This is why the most compassionate thing you can do for a crisis addict is step back. Remove your support. Let them face the full consequence of their choices. It feels cruel. It triggers guilt. It makes you question whether you're a good person. But here's what you need to understand. Enabling is not kindness. Rescuing is not love. Absorbing someone's chaos is not friendship. Real compassion looks like letting people struggle so they can grow. Real love looks like enforcing boundaries so they can learn. Real friendship looks like refusing to participate in their self-destruction. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who saves people from every consequence creates weak, dependent subjects. A ruler who allows natural consequences creates strong, capable citizens. The same applies to relationships. When you rescue people from their own choices, you rob them of the lessons those choices were meant to teach. The test that confirms crisis addiction. Tell them you can no longer be their crisis manager. Offer them resources like therapy, support groups, or professional help. Then step back. If they take the resources and do the work, they were genuinely struggling and needed redirection. If they get angry, guilt you, accuse you of abandonment, or immediately find another person to drain, they were addicted to the crisis, not interested in solving it. Your job is not to fix broken people. Your job is to protect yourself from being broken by them. Some people will spend their entire lives in chaos. That's their choice, their path, their consequence. You cannot save them. You can only refuse to drown with them. The hardest moment is the first time you say no and hold firm. They'll escalate. They'll make you feel terrible. They'll test every weak point in your boundary. Stay firm. The storm passes, and on the other side, you get your life back. The people who genuinely wanted help will find it elsewhere and grow. The people who wanted a crisis companion will find someone else, and you'll be free. Both outcomes are better than staying trapped in someone else's addiction. You're not responsible for saving people who refuse to save themselves. You're only responsible for protecting your peace from people who want to steal it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I release who I cannot save. The transformation. Life after crisis boundaries. Now that you understand all 7 laws, let's talk about what happens when you actually implement them. Your life transforms completely. The first thing you notice is space, mental space, emotional space, time that's actually yours. You wake up and your first thoughts aren't about someone else's problems. You go through your day without constant interruptions from people's crises. You end your day without feeling emotionally ransacked. You remember what peace feels like, real peace. Not the exhausted numbness of people-pleasing, but the calm clarity of protected boundaries. The second thing you notice is energy. You have energy again. Energy to pursue your goals. Energy to invest in relationships that actually nourish you. Energy to create, build, and grow. You forgot what it felt like to not be constantly drained. Now you remember. The third thing you notice is respect. People start treating you differently. They think twice before bringing their drama. They hesitate before demanding your time. They actually consider whether their crisis is your responsibility. Because you've taught them the most important lesson. Your energy is not free. Your time is not unlimited. Your peace is not negotiable. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." He didn't mean ruling through terror. He meant commanding respect through boundaries. When people know you cannot be manipulated, guilted, or drained, they treat you with respect instead of expectation. The fourth thing you notice is growth. Your own growth. The goals you shelved start moving forward. The projects you abandoned get attention. The dreams you buried come back to life, because now you have the resources to invest in yourself. Resources that were previously stolen by other people's chaos. But here's what nobody tells you about implementing crisis boundaries. You will lose people. Some people in your life are only there because you were useful, because you were available, because you could be drained. When you stop being those things, they disappear, and it hurts. Even though you know it's necessary, it still hurts. That pain is the price of freedom, and it's worth it. Because the people you lose were never really there for you anyway. They were there for what you could give them, and when you stopped giving, they had no reason to stay. The people who remain are the real ones, the ones who respect your boundaries, the ones who add to your life instead of subtracting from it, the ones who understand that relationships are mutual, not one-sided extraction. Those relationships deepen, they get stronger, they become sources of genuine support instead of constant drain. This is the life Machiavelli described for the wise ruler, surrounded by quality over quantity, protected by boundaries instead of exposed by availability, respected for standards instead of used for softness. Two paths exist from today forward. Path 1, continue as you are. Keep absorbing everyone's crises. Keep sacrificing your peace for their comfort. Keep training people to drain you. Watch your energy disappear. Watch your goals stay unreached. Watch your life remain stuck while you exhaust yourself, managing everyone else's chaos. Path 2. Implement these 7 laws. Stop letting other people's emergencies become your stress. Set boundaries without apology. Protect your energy like it's the only currency that matters. Watch people either step up or step out. Reclaim your mental space. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your life. The choice is binary. There is no middle ground. You either protect yourself or you get consumed. Machiavelli understood that princes who tried to please everyone ended up pleasing no one and losing everything. This same applies to you. You cannot serve everyone and still serve yourself. You cannot be available to all and still available to your purpose. Someone has to come first, and if it's not you, you'll spend your life being everyone's emotional support while your own dreams die from neglect. So decide now, which path are you choosing? If you're choosing path 2, if you're ready to stop letting other people's crises become your stress, I need you to take action right now. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. Crisis stops at my boundary. Like this video if it exposed something you needed to see. Share it with someone who's drowning in other people's chaos and doesn't know how to stop. Subscribe for more content that teaches you to protect your power instead of giving it away. Remember this, your peace is not selfish. Your boundaries are not cruel. Your energy is not unlimited. You have one life, one chance, one reservoir of mental and emotional resources. Stop letting people who contribute nothing take everything. The world is full of people creating crises. Don't be the one carrying them. Be the one who walks past the drama, protects their peace, and builds something worth protecting. That's power. That's freedom. That's the life Machiavelli described for those wise enough to claim it. Your transformation starts the moment you stop rescuing people from problems they created and start protecting yourself from chaos you didn't cause. Today is that moment.